Warning, the following podcast does have an explicit tag, and we would hate to disappoint it. You are listening to Not Another Atheist Podcast, the Ramble Without a Cause podcast that breaks down issues in the secular humanist community and tries to make sure that the explicit tag goes home satisfied after smoking a well-earned God damn, I'm out of practice on this. Fuck. So, I am the polite Canadian Keith, and joining me as always is a New York born and bound bundle of attitude, Jen. Jen, thank you again for joining me.
Thanks. Who's trying to up the volume on her mic thingy, but it probably won't work right now.
Well, that sounds problematic.
Yeah, it's fine. You'll fix it later.
So, I will. I do that.
You'll fix it later.
So, it's been a while. Have you been?
I'm good. I know we took a hiatus. I had a hysterectomy done.
Jen has no lady bits anymore.
I have my ovaries. I kept my ovaries, which I thought would help with hormone problems, and now I have raging cyst pimples everywhere, so I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah, I had a hysterectomy done. It was a rough couple of weeks. I had a hysterectomy done, and then midway through my recovery, I started a new job. So it's been kind of trying to heal and get back into the swing of, instead of working when I want to, on my schedule, it's full time again. And so we're back from our little hiatus. I am all healed. I have no lady bits. Living without a uterus and a cervix is divine. Like, I don't even think about getting my period. I'm just like, I just live. Like, I'll catch it every once in a while, and I was like, oh shit. No, I'm not supposed to have one of those.
Well, after doing that for decades, I could only imagine it would just kind of be habit.
I got my period at 11.
There you go.
And I'm 35 now.
So over more than almost 2.5 decades.
Yeah, so you know how funny it would have been if I was like 6 months from the start of menopause and I had it removed.
See, this is the thing that confuses me about the wife, because she's on the birth control, so she should have absolutely no excuse to like not see it coming, and then all of a sudden one night she'll be like, "Oh, I guess my period's coming."
No,
and I'll be
mine was weird because like I was on birth control for a couple months before I had it.
Right.
And you're supposed it's like, oh, okay, I'll stop the pills, and like a day or two later, man, this shit would come for like 2 to 7 days after, and I'm like, you know what, it's got to go. It's got to go. I had the surgery done. The surgery was tough. It was harder than I thought it was going to be. Way harder than I thought it was going to be. But boyfriend took really good care of me. Really good care of me. Like, organized my pantry and my fucking kitchen cabinets type of shit. Took really good care of me, and then we kind of settled back into the...
You wife that shit.
I know, I need to wife that shit. Then we settled back into the, okay, you've been here for 2 weeks. We're driving each other insane because it's MySpace.
No, MySpace has pretty much been like abandoned for years.
It's Jen's space, and you're invading Jen's space, and he didn't have his stuff here to keep him occupied, so he was super bored during downtimes, and we drove each other nuts. So I was like, you know what? Let's go back to living in our own places, and yeah.
And after a while, it's like, I love you, but get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and like he took 2 weeks off of work, and like, we were just constantly around each other, and he was caring for me, which I had a really hard time with. Like, I had a really hard time with it. And it was, you're kind of he was invading my space because he was bored and had nothing else to do. So he was looking for things to do, and he didn't have any of his stuff here to keep his life on track, which was driving him crazy.
Jen, why did you not buy the man Legos?
Oh my god, we bought video games.
That's not Legos.
We bought video games, got all Connor's toys. But
no,
anyway.
Legos. Trust me, you give a man Lego and he will be...
We weren't ready. Like, we never had the moving in discussion. This was temporary, and it was like, yeah, we really need to talk about this before this happens.
Yes.
And he needs, like, it was all my stuff. He needs his stuff.
Yeah, it makes
where
sense.
He lives. You know how it is. It doesn't matter how many times you're at somebody's place, it's not your place.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, type of deal. So. But I'm good. I'm back in.
I think you said you did a podcast the other day.
I did. It was a friend of mine. We decided to just do a Game of Thrones podcast. Their podcast is called A Tale of Two Geeks, and Jen spit the knowledge.
And Jen will provide us some links so I can
I'll
get
find
you to
all that shit.
listening to that shit if you're interested.
I'll
Because
find all that shit.
I regularly
they do
shoot
this
down
really
Game of Thrones.
totally awesome geek podcast, and they cover like different topics and shit. And it's Brandy and Harry who are fucking relationship goals to me, which means that their marriage is not like your typical pretty little southern house, oh lovey-dovey bake fucking biscuits marriage. They're very much like me and AJ, and they're like relationship goals to me.
But I like
And
biscuits.
they're awesome people. They're awesome people. So yeah, Jen spit the Game of Thrones knowledge this weekend, and then had a poker night the following night and got shitty drunk. Jen has learned from drinking the last couple of months of where her tolerance is, and has taken full advantage of it the last 2 weekends. There are pictures all over Instagram. It's
I've got a few of them.
bad.
It's great. But you can tell we haven't done this in a while because Jen's just looking for any excuse to continue rambling.
Yeah. I miss talking to you guys. So let's start doing this shit.
Oh, no, it's okay. I won't talk about the podcast I was on, representing us that you bailed
yeah.
on.
Oh. Okay. Extenuating circumstances, Dick. All right. I had a dick appointment. Thank you very much. I had a dick appointment that I'm not going to have dick appointments.
Yeah,
in a couple
she
weeks.
she ditched a podcast to get laid, so
Hey, okay, in my defense, he's going away for 3 weeks.
I hope Corey listens to
state.
this and he gets to make a judgment on it.
Hey, it was more than just the dick, okay? We were spending time. Because he's not going to be here for a couple weeks, so we were spending time.
Corey, you and the folks over at the
Sorry,
Brainstorm
Corey.
podcast can listen to this and you can let us know. Anyway, so yes.
Corey agreed with me. He told me to go ahead and do what I got to do. So, fuck you.
You haven't
Understood.
listened to the episode then.
Oh my god. I haven't. I've been too busy fucking working and quality time and being a mom and attempting not to have my kids' shit overrun my house everywhere. Anyway.
Kids. So anyways, yes, I appeared on the Brainstorm podcast, and they actually do it live, which was kind of a new experience for me, kind of not, because very early on.
What was that like?
Well, you remember when we first met Hannah and his former partner in crime, David Teachout, on, what the hell was that show called? Fuck, I can't remember the name that their show was called. But the one thing that I noticed that was different is you always have to be a little more aware of, like, your awkward pauses. And
Yeah.
Corey was kind enough to make a joke about how, we don't have that. And I'm sitting there, I'm going, well, joke's on you, because I get to edit that shit out.
Joke's on you. We actually do, like, all the fucking time.
Yeah. But it was wonderful. We talked a little bit about the show. They gave me a hard time about not putting any episodes out in the last little bit.
Extenuating
Yeah.
circumstances. I had
We know.
I had major surgery, like lady bit surgery.
We know. And then I actually got to hear a couple of their guests, and I'm still kind of trying to figure out why the fuck they downgraded us. Do you know who Steve Novella is?
Yeah.
They've had him on their show. Like, Corey actually was involved in the Atheist Conference last year that brought Matt Dillahunty and Seth Andrews to fucking middle of buttfuck nowhere, Saskatchewan. I mean, Regina. Shit, if they listen to this.
Oh, I'll tease Matt about
And
that
they were all Canadian, so it was weird because I wasn't the most polite one. I was.
Ooh.
I know. I mean, to be fair, like I think stereotypically Calgary's a little more redneck than they are, but anyways, notes will be provided.
In that shit for this.
So as promised in our last episode, we said we would do a little bit of a dive into a term called toxic masculinity. Now, unfortunately, we won't be able to spend a whole hour, and I know you guys are just sitting there going, why not? But
this is what we were looking forward to Jen going off about.
But we will have to cram as many jokes making fun of men and their poor egos. They're very fragile
Shitty men
egos.
and their poor egos. I have a good rant.
There we go.
We don't do toxic masculinity in this house.
Perfect. And all of that shit. So why don't we move right on into that discussion?
You okay?
Ba-doop, ba-doop, boop. Transition music. Ba-da-ba-da-ba.
And now for something completely different.
Pulling it up on Wikipedia, just the
There's a
initial...
Wikipedia article about toxic masculinity.
Yeah, this shit is huge.
Fucking shit. There is a fucking Wikipedia article about everything these days. God damn.
Yep. Oh, it's incredible. So the concept of toxic masculinity, according to the Wikipedia article, it's used in the social sciences to describe traditional norms of behavior among men in contemporary American and European society, which are strongly associated with detrimental social and psychological effects. So basically, kind of why misogyny gets ingrained in stupid boys and their stupid heads. A couple of examples of they provide the toxic masculine norms include dominance, devaluation of women, extreme self-reliance rather, and the suppression of emotions.
AKA what was the rape victim wearing?
Oh, victim blaming.
Don't cry, boys don't cry, man up.
Alright, so, where do you want to start with this?
Oh, fuck me. We only got we don't even have an hour.
Uh,
It's foreign to me because I don't practice it in my home, and I'm raising a boy, and I don't practice it in my home. Like, if my son's upset about something, I'm not gonna sit here and tell him to stop crying and man up. If he's genuinely upset about something, not like if he's doing that crocodile tear, I'm not getting my way bullshit. I'll tell him stop you fucking crying, because it's not,
Children.
and not in the man up sense. Men don't cry. It's the I know it's bullshit.
Right.
Knock it off. I don't do that. I don't do the toughen up, you're a boy thing. And there are certain members of my family that are like, oh, well, he's a boy. And I'm like, so he's got a dick. Big deal.
Right.
Big deal. He's got a dick. It doesn't mean one of the things that I enjoy about my relationship is that we'll talk about not only things that are going on in the relationship, but how they actually make us feel.
Right.
And we're both very expressive about it, and it's kind of refreshing because the millennial split, which is like, I'd say 89 is where it stops. There's definitely different millennials from 82 to 89 than 90 and on.
Right.
And the 90 and on generation seem to be way more in tune with equality and feelings, and mine are still kind of stuck in the
Typically, yeah.
be a man, toughen up, be tough, blah 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 blah. And it was really refreshing that, like, we actually sat down one night and he's like, no, this is how this makes me feel. And I'm like, oh shit. And it kind of opened my eyes that I was being fucked up in the relationship, because no other man that I had been with, it kind of broke through the toxic masculinity. They were just like, well, I'm pissed off and this is what you did. It was never no, this is how you make me feel. You made me feel like this conversation. And it was eye-opening shit. Because it damages women, too. That's the freaky shit, is that it damages women. It does. It damages women. Because, I mean, they devalue women. With toxic masculinity, absolutely devalues women. So it's, the victim blaming. It's the, you shouldn't drink that much. You shouldn't go out and drink that much because something's going to happen to you. Oh, he pulled your hair because he likes you.
That's some boys will be boys shit.
Yeah, the boys will be boys shit. Toxic masculinity. He pushed you down because he likes you.
See, and those propagate, as you were saying, devaluation of women. Those do propagate and normalize minor acts of violence against women,
right,
which can extrapolate and go even further.
And then it kind of plays into this whole men are from Mars, women are from Venus shit. Because, women will go and bitch to their girlfriends that he doesn't tell me how he's feeling, and he always shuts down, and he doesn't show me anything. And then guys aren't supposed to talk about it. They're just supposed to turn around and say, she's being a bitch, or she's nagging me.
She's on her rag.
She's on her period. She's PMSing. So
right.
it's actually breaking down what could be really good relationships, because one sex is being told that it's not manly to discuss your feelings, and the other sex is being told not to expect it. Don't expect it. They're men. Men don't do that.
So I think the best way for us to kind of deal with this, I like the 4 norms that they put forward, and I think we're just going to kind of focus on those just in lieu of
give me a fucking
in lieu of
guideline
time.
here, goddammit.
So, Jen, you brought up perfectly the whole suppression of emotions. Growing up as a male, I was regularly looked down upon because I had stuffed animals. I liked animals. I would cry.
Dude, you want to hear what's fucked up? And I don't know what it is lately, but I'm kind of going back on my whole childhood, and not so much on my mom's side, but my dad's side. And I'm like, wow, this is fucked up. They stuck to those old school Italian ways.
Right.
And if the boys would cry, they would hit them.
Jesus.
And be like, it was the typical, if you keep crying, I'll give you something to cry about.
I heard that, but...
And they would hit them to quote-unquote toughen them up. And as they're hitting them, they were telling them not to cry because they're men. And I'm looking back on it now, as an adult.
It's fucked up.
What the fuck? That's fucked up. Not only are you putting your hands on your kid, but you're hitting a child and telling them to toughen up. The fuck is wrong with these people? I've had, huge epiphanies in my father's family lately. I fucking probably seriously need therapy, but whatever.
Right. And forcing men to, instead of deal with their emotions, forcing us to suppress, ignore, and avoid them at all cost, it not only damages us, but it damages our relationships. Because instead of, as you were saying with you and boyfriend, instead of saying, this, with this situation, this is how I feel about it.
And I'll admit that I was really guilty in the sense of that, boys aren't supposed to talk about how they're feeling and suppress it and deal with it.
Right.
That I would do a lot of shit thinking, kind of on the he's going to suppress it anyway, and he's just going to stuff it down and it's going to be okay. And that was my fuck up. I really fucked up with that.
Right.
We've gotten into some fucking bangers because not physical before anybody says anything, but because I was so programmed to think that boys shouldn't feel things, that I really didn't take into account how things I did would make him feel. You know what I mean? And that I was supposed to be the over emotional one, and I was the one that was supposed to have all the feelings, and it was so ingrained in my head.
So ultimately, instead of knowing how to handle them as they come and properly deal with them, ultimately they're just buried down, forced into that back place of your mind until you are so emotionally stunted that your human relationships suffer.
State. And when they do explode, they explode out in a juvenile way because you were never taught how to deal with these emotions as an adult and how to mature them as you matured.
Exactly.
Because, at 5, you get angry, you cry, you throw something, stomp around. And then you're told not to cry at 5. So that ability to deal with that stops at 5.
And one of the interesting things on this particular branch of the subject that I dealt with, and I think we'll try to close this out and then move on to the next subtopic here, was almost a year and a half ago. The fiance and I, we were getting ready to go on holiday, and we were arranging to have my best friend cat sit. You've heard us talk about Boo before. She is my she is my child. Basically.
Boo is my niece. She's my fur niece.
More or less. Actually, it's hilarious. She's such a diva. She got mad at me the other night. She was laying right next to me, would not look at me even while I was petting her. But Ashley sat down next to her and started petting her, and she totally hammed up the, oh yeah, that's the spot, and started purring as loud as possible. As soon as I touched her, she stopped.
This is why I love Boo.
Oh my god, it's fucking hilarious.
Zero Fox, that's why I love her so much.
Oh, it's hilarious. But anyways, so I very much love this cat. Her well-being
is everything
very much,
to you.
Exactly. And we were arranging for her to go stay with my friend. Well, I typically, whenever I've gone away, since having her, when I was living with my grandmother, she didn't go anywhere. She stayed there. She was at home.
Oh, yeah.
She stayed with people she knew. She stayed with animals she knew. And when I wasn't there, she just sought out human affection from other people.
Right.
She's a cat. She adapts. It's what she does. But I actually was lying awake at night having near panic attacks.
Wondering how she's doing?
No. Once we dropped her off, every concern that I had was fine. But leading up to it, I couldn't sleep at night. I was having almost panic attacks because I'm like freaking out that, you know, my precious little bundle of furry love
wouldn't be able to adapt.
Not even that she
It would
wouldn't
be miserable.
adapt, just I couldn't even put my finger on what it was I was worried about. I was just freaking the fuck out. And a lot of people are like, oh, just calm the fuck down, and really trying to downplay that. And it was really interesting. I actually ended up having a chat with one of our former guests, Jerry, about this. I'm 6'2". I'm 200 pounds. I work out 5-6 times a week. I very much fit a lot of masculine norms in my physicality. And a lot of people would use that as a reason to kind of downplay and even actually kind of make fun of me for the fact that, you know, I'm genuinely distressed about this and everybody's downplaying it. And I at one point I actually called the fiance. I was like, look, this is a problem for me. I am having issues. Stop making fun of me for it.
Right. Like, no, I'm this is like serious. I'm not joking about how I'm feeling about this. This is legit panic.
Precisely. But as soon as we dropped her off, I let her out of her little carrier. As soon as I watched her like walk around for 30 seconds, she flopped down in the middle of the floor because she's like the most chill cat ever. I was like, oh, okay, you're fine. And everything was fine. Everywhere I had was just gone.
Yeah.
So, suppression of emotions is bad for everybody. So you had touched on it earlier, but now there's the devaluation of women. And I think this might actually be one of the broader ones, because I think the self-reliance can be very heavily tied to suppression of emotions, and as well as dominance. But that's
self-reliance is a big one too, because everyone wants that relationship where you're a quote-unquote team.
Right.
And with toxic masculinity, if you're taught extreme self-reliance, you can't go into that. So the relationship either becomes very distant or it becomes very unbalanced. Mm-hmm. You're not doing it together. Somebody else is carrying it all while the other one just kind of drags on. Excuse me, because it's banged into your head that you're a man. You got to do it all. You got to bring home the bacon. You got to do it on your own. You got to struggle. You got to survive. To where you start feeling solely responsible for everything. You start taking all the burdens on. So it's not an actual team.
No, it's not. And that whole idea of extreme self-reliance. Basically, you know, as a man, you should be able to provide for yourself, for your family. You shouldn't need to rely on others for any of your needs. You should be able to do it all yourself. You know, that's, I think one of my favorite jokes demonstrating this is, you know, men never ask for directions.
Right.
Which again, suppression of emotions, because, you know, suppressing the idea that he might not know something.
And the extreme self-reliance. No, I'm the caveman. We found our way out of the caves. I'll find our way out of fucking New Jersey. You know what I mean? Precisely.
And that really takes away from your status as, you know, head honcho, alpha male.
Barking bullshit.
Right. So if you're unable to provide for yourself, unable to provide for your family, you are inherently less of a man.
Right. Less of a man. Now, granted, if you sitting there not looking for a job, mooching off your girl, eating her food, driving her car, wasting her gas, you're not less of a man. You're just a piece of shit.
Precisely.
And the same goes for women. And I'm not talking about relationships where the couples have decided that one person will stay home and the other person will be a breadwinner. Like, you know, because these are legit conversations that go down, especially after having kids.
Oh, yeah.
And it goes both ways. Sometimes guys stay at home, sometimes women stay at home. But if you're one of these motherfuckers that just like, I'm gonna move in with this bitch and her kids, and I'm not gonna find a job, and I'm not gonna pay rent, and I'm gonna eat all her food, and then you're a piece. And
you're just
same
a
for women.
Shitty guy.
You're a fucking piece of shit. Like, same for women. You're a fucking piece of shit. We both work. We both very much like the fact, and you know, we've talked about if we were to ever move in and everything like that, and we decided that we'll have one account that we each put money into. That we can both have access to for just the household bills.
Right.
Split everything down the middle, and then we each keep our own personal accounts.
Yeah.
So whatever you want to do with your money is what you do with your money. He looked at me, he was like, you can go spend $300 at fucking Sephora. You can go ahead and spend that shit. But don't fucking come to me, bitch, and you broke and you can't do nothing. That's your money. And I'm very much that equal power.
Yeah. Because you are a team. You're supposed to complement each other.
Right. And if, and we both know, like, if we both, have paid out the bills and something comes up for one or something comes up for the other and the other doesn't have it, then yeah, we're not going to leave you stuck out and hung out.
You got each other's back.
Right. You got it. Exactly. It's like, I feel so terrible because he like so went all out for Christmas for us. Excuse me, now that I'm back to work, my income's clearly better. And I was like, yo, are you covered for going down to the school? If you're not, then I got you. And he's like, no, babe, I got it. Or like, we'll go out and I'm like, I got this. He's like, no, I got it. And I'm like, no. The way we do it is every time we go out, we alternate who pays for dinner.
That's fair.
Yeah. So like I think the last time I paid.
Oh.
No, he did. We took the kids to a local museum, and he paid for lunch. So
That's
the next
nice.
time I'll get dinner. Like it's very balanced with us.
That's awesome.
It's extremely balanced with us.
Okay, so why don't we go step back a little bit? We'll talk about dominance, and instead of, since we've already touched on it, we'll save the evaluation of women for after, because that whole misogyny thing.
Oh yeah.
And actually, that does tie into homophobia as well, which is and transphobia, which is interesting.
Transphobia, right.
And then the last little one here that they mentioned is dominance, and maybe I should have done better notes on this topic. I don't fucking know. Is dominance is
I'm sitting here with a planner and a journal and have zero notes on this because I suck at adulting.
Right. So as a male, you are expected to lead the pack, to be the dominant one, to always rise to the challenge and never back down. Basically, you're always expected to assert yourself, which leads to a lot of stupid guys trying to start fights over stupid reasons.
Oh, God. Alpha male shit. You crushed the can on your head faster than I did, so I now have to challenge you for dominance.
Yeah, basically. And that's why guys will escalate in the stupid shit they do, especially when drinking. At least, maybe this is just the guys I made the mistake of hanging around with.
And I will say that I think there's some biological aspect, and I noticed it with my son and my boyfriend, that I don't know if it's what happens when you get actual testosterone in a room together. But like I said, we are everything equal between the two of us. I don't raise my son with these bullshit fucking gender norms. But I've noticed that when he's around the boyfriend, he's a little more aggressive. Like, he now wants to pillow fight, and he wants to play with the Nerf guns, but he doesn't ask me to do that. So I don't know if it's something from school, or if it's actually something biological. Not to say that the escalation isn't a societal norm. I think there may be some scientific basis, but a very small point, and then the societal norm seriously escalates shit.
Well, what I'm sitting here thinking is, I wonder how much...
Sorry, my Bixby goes off. Oddly enough, she goes, only when you need me, and I'm like, I didn't even say nothing yet.
What a dick.
You fucking cunt.
Well then, on that, I know testosterone, as far as I know, has been linked to aggression.
Right.
Which, fair enough, it does make sense as to, there being that. However, for society to just say, oh, well, that's, just boys will be boys, instead of saying,
right.
I understand that you felt compelled to do this. However, you are a thoughtful being capable of independent thought and understanding that your emotions may not always be in your best, or you're acting out your emotions may not always be your best interest. Because because you feel like running that jackass off the road after he fucking cut you off for no goddamn reason, then didn't wave, doesn't mean you should.
Exactly.
And instead of just trying to downplay saying boys will be boys, confront that, aggression, that rage, that anger. And it doesn't have to be, like in their face, shouting them down, dominating their attempt for dominance, and an attempt to completely kill any future attempts at, uprising or whatever. But rather, a calm and rational discussion, one that, doesn't provoke, but rather helps learn a better strategy to move forward and to handle that
and
situation.
not, handle it with beating the shit out of each other.
Exactly. Instead of just relying on pure animal instinct, you're stopping and rationalizing through it and understanding that there will be consequences if you punch the cop who just pulled you over.
And I so think a lot of the law enforcement aspect is so driven on toxic masculinity.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Basis.
It very much is, and I mean, a lot of those guys, I don't know about law enforcement so much. I mean, I did see it back when, God, I say this like I'm fucking ancient. Back when I did go to like nightclubs and whatnot, is bouncers were a perfect example for this.
Old as shit. Thinking about that now.
I'm gonna be 30 at the end of this year. Yeah, I feel old as fuck.
I'm gonna be 36 this year.
Fucking why? You've had 5 years to deal with being in your 30s. I have not.
Yeah, I'm coming closer to 40. Right?
But bouncers at the nightclubs. A friend of mine and I were drunk and we were having a heated discussion one night, and bouncer came over and like put his hands between us and was like, "Do we have a problem?" And I guess I made a little too much eye contact, and he started trying to get into my face, and I was like, "What is your problem?" And he goes, "Do you want to take this outside?" I was like, "What? I'm talking to my friend here. What are you doing?" And
we're just hanging out. Relax. We actually like each other.
Yeah, and so you see a lot of this in these highly emotional situations where instead of people taking that step back to assess the situation and try to gauge a proper need, they're just letting adrenaline and instinct kick in and gotta be man, gotta be dominant, blah, 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 blah.
Gotta be man. Oh my God, everybody's watching me. I gotta be the man.
Precisely. So from being the man, now we're going to talk about the devaluation of women, or femininity, really.
Femininity in general.
So it's very common for people to make jokes about, if a guy can sew, if a guy can cook, if a guy cleans.
If he does his own laundry, if
takes care for children.
And let me tell you, is that me at least? Because I'm all about, the equality and shit. TMI time. When I was recovering, the boyfriend decided to start ripping apart my kitchen. And I mean, cleaning out and organizing my pantry, organizing my kitchen cabinets. It turned me on. Apparently, I have a domestic fetish that I never knew about.
Basically, what Jen is trying to say is she put him in a French maid outfit. And
no, I didn't do that. I didn't do all that, but it was a serious
not what I heard.
On. It was a serious fucking turn on, because I'm like, especially comparing it with my ex-husband, who very much was about the can't cook, can't clean, that's a woman's job thing. It kind of turned it. No, I shouldn't say kind of. It fucking turned me on, because I was like, wow, this is somebody that will share the responsibility with me and not. Oh, I'll take the trash out. I'll cut. I'll mow the lawn.
Right.
I was like, damn. Watching him get to work like that, I was like, He's got a nice butt too, so watching that dance around the kitchen was kind of nice. But...
So this whole devaluation of anything considered feminine, so the color pink, flowers, the just even like the chores that were previously mentioned. Right. These lead to such stupid jokes as guys looking at women going, "Go make me a sandwich," because they're funny that way. Notice the sarcasm. And it really fosters misogynistic attitudes that say women are inherently less valuable than men. Women are the ones who have to stay at home, who have to look after the children, who
wait
have
on
to...
a grown-ass man, a grown-ass adult, hand and foot, who should be able to do this shit on his own.
Well,
I'll tell you right now. I will tell y'all right fucking now. And I know a lot of people giving me shit about this. I don't make my man's plate. I don't do it. I make my kid's plate, and if I was ever feeling nice one night to make his plate and serve his food, my kid is getting served first, and we would both agree on that. I don't make my man's plate. I don't. I'll cook. I mean, we'll alternate that too. It's all about, whatever, but I actually prefer to cook in my kitchen over him. Because I'm like, stop touching my stuff and putting it in places I don't know where it goes. Stop! Everything was where I knew it was. It's not anymore. But I don't make his plate. I don't serve him. I will come into the room and say, go get food before me. the
Right.
kid gets fed first. But one, I'm not gonna presume how fucking hungry he is. I'm not his fucking stomach. I'm not his brain. The fuck. Two, he's a grown ass man with legs and
He can
arms.
serve himself.
He could said the last thing I served him was a drink. We had a poker night here last weekend. Jen was drunk, and Jen didn't think that the boyfriend was drunk enough. So I was like, "You've got to drink more." He's like, "Well," he looked at the glass, and I poured him almost an entire full Scotch glass of Scotch. I was like, "Drink up, bitch! Drink it up, bitch!"
That's a lot of scotch.
Oh yeah, he was like, "Oh my god, it's a lot of Scotch." I'm like, "Cause you're not fucking drunk enough. Drink up, bitch." I was.
Scotch isn't something you drink with the intention of getting drunk, though. That's no. It's a classy drink. You casually drink. You don't shoot that shit. Come on.
But it was more not a I want to serve my man type deal, but a you're not drunk enough. I was like, we have to get you intoxicated. But even tonight, like I made dinner, I got the kids' plate up, and then I walked in the room. I said, "Go get food." I don't serve my man his plate. I don't make his plate. I don't serve it to him.
So, as mentioned, the misogyny that comes with this does also actually translate, I think, perfectly to the topics of homophobia and transphobia, because
Transphobia, right.
I have a perfect example, actually. We actually recently got new shirts at work, and I work with a crew of 5 other guys. We actually have we have one girl currently on staff. She only works Sundays. I'm never there Sundays, so I've never actually met her, although I've talked to her. Email, cool. But anyways, we have another woman who will be starting up in a couple of weeks, so it'll be interesting to see if the perpetual chest thumping continues. But so we got new shirts at work, and as it turns out, and I'm actually really proud of this because for me this marks a big milestone. These shirts are larges, and
All right.
they are almost too small for me. Like they are just that perfect
Look at
fit.
you.
It actually, I looked after I put it on. I took one look at the size. I was like, holy shit. So it highlights my physique. My assistant manager, he regularly compliments me. He and one of my other coworkers, because they both try to work out a lot, but they're serious about it, but they're not as serious. So instead of like doing the work to properly research and plan out their workouts like me, they just kind of do what they feel like. But anyways, so they both paid a lot of compliments to me. It was a huge ego boost because I'm like, yeah, like
Look at me.
yeah.
I'm sexy. I'm sexy.
And our regional manager happened to be in, and he made a comment about how my shirt was too small and I need to get a bigger one. And my assistant manager said to him, he goes, "Well, why? I mean, it looks great. Like his physique is awesome."
Yeah.
And the assistant manager or the regional manager looks at him and goes, "What are you, gay?" I think having this relate to me as a third person, right? So having this relate to me as a third person, I can't say if this was he thought he was being funny or not. It's not a funny thing to say. Let's just be clear on that. But this does, like men can't compliment other men. Men can't take a look at a guy and be like, "Wow,
That looks good on you.
because we've had it beaten out of us," because that's what women do. That's not what men do. That's what women do.
Right, and if you find another man attractive, that means you're less of a man, because you should only find a woman attractive so you could procreate and quote unquote spread your seed.
Right.
Toxic masculinity.
Exactly. And even just, being into anything feminine or seemingly feminine, can instantly, make you one of the homos or the gays, and somehow that's inherently bad.
Because you find another man attractive and therefore you must want to sleep with him, because men are nothing but testosterone driven dick machines.
You mean we're not?
And if you want to sleep with a man, then you don't want to spread your seed and you're not man enough.
Right. You're not alpha. You're not dominant. Therefore, you are feminine and bad.
Right.
And even the idea of someone who is trans, a trans woman, there's the misconception that, being born with a penis and not wanting it somehow makes you less of a person.
Yeah, less of an actual human being.
Yeah.
Because, dick is the seed bearer. It's the seed spreader. You have to shoot that seed into something. So therefore, you're not a human being because you want to get rid of the thing that can be fruitful and multiply.
Exactly.
And how dare you? How dare you want to not bear anything? Not
Or
want
even
to spread, not want to plant.
Or
Want
even
to get rid
guys
of it
who,
altogether.
you know, wear clothing that's typically, you know, women's styles or fabrics or whatnot. Like, lace is soft as shit. Don't get me
I
wrong.
never got into lace. It was always kind of for me. It was always a
Like-
little itchy, and it never sat right on me. And lace was just never good for me.
Interesting. I don't know. I would never dare try to wear it simply because my skin would probably rip it to shreds. I work in a warehouse, so
Yeah.
my skin is not ideal. And even though I like I rub the lotion on my skin so I don't get the hairs again. Like even on my jeans, I feel like if I run my hand on my jeans, I feel my skin catch on it. Like that's how bad my skin can get.
Ooh. How do you deal with that? Like, you know when you get calluses and they catch on the bed sheets?
We don't have the softest bed sheets. Like ours are great, but they're not like silk or anything like that.
No, but you know what I mean. Like when they get a little too rough and they start like peeling and they catch on, or like you could feel it scratching on the bed sheets.
Actually, because I have such prominent calluses from my weightlifting, it's not uncommon for me to either like pick at them during the day or even just file them down.
Right. So what was it, a couple of weeks ago? We were going to bed, and I got into bed and I could feel that scratchy from my heel on the bed sheets.
Oh.
I looked at him and I was like, go in the bathroom. There's that AmaPay automatic callus remover thing where it's like
Right.
a file head.
Yep.
I was like, go and get that. It's in this drawer. And it was like fucking 1:00 in the morning. And he was like, what are you doing? I was like, I can't get into this bed like this. Just the fucking thought of the scratchiness, I have to get rid of it right now. He was
Right.
like, holy shit. Like, yes, that's one of my crazies coming out.
I actually, it drives the wife nuts, but one thing that I like to do is once my calluses get big enough, I'll actually use them when she asks for, like, back scratches, and I'll just
Ew.
run my palm across her back, and she'll be like, why does that hurt so much? And I'll be like, I don't know.
Why do I have the weirdest lady boner right now?
Right? I don't know. And I mean, don't get me wrong, these calluses can make it hard for jacking off.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Oh, yeah. It can make it scritchy and gross and...
Ew, that sounds a little painful, actually.
It can actually, like, rip and wear away at the skin.
Ah!
And that's some sensitive shit.
Ow.
Yeah, exactly. So, the culmination of these factors really can lead to the increase of violence, depression, overall stress, really. And another thing that they highlight is substance abuse. Simply because, you feel you're not valuable as a person.
You know what this actually makes me think of? The devaluing of men with eating disorders.
God damn, that is a... that sucks because I really want to go off on that.
Because being so concerned about how you look is a woman thing. And, bulimia and anorexia and other eating disorders are a woman's disease.
Absolutely.
Women are so vain and so shallow, and the makeup and the heels and the hair dye, that you would be shocked at how many men suffer from eating disorders but feel that they can't come out about it.
No,
because
they can't.
It's so inherently feminine.
And in some ways, that increases the damage that the disorder can do because, and again, norms of toxic masculinity, you can't even seek, or you won't even let yourself seek help for it. You're determined you have to do it on your own.
Right.
Allah forbid that you go to someone and say, I hate myself, I have problems.
Right. Because that's a bitch trait.
Exactly.
You're supposed to be man, self-confident.
Exactly.
Self-reliant, get over it. This is why you so concerned with how you look. Men are supposed to just roll out of the bed and throw on sweatpants and not give a shit.
Precisely.
Fancying up is a bitch trait. It's a woman's thing.
Precisely. And as we said, this can, like, with all these factors, this can play a role in domestic violence because a guy doesn't feel he has...
Yes.
And this is just one
How you gonna
path.
How you gonna let some little girl put her hands on you? You're a man.
how are you not going to keep her in line if she steps
how
out?
you not going to keep her in line like that? She's your woman. You're supposed to be the man. How you going to get your ass beat by some little ass girl? You supposed to be big, tough man.
And why don't you control your bitch?
Exactly.
That was
and
a
there are
favorite from
many
a friend of mine.
men who are in abusive relationships and feel that there's no way out because they're afraid of looking weak and quote unquote being the bitch in the relationship.
Which MRAs just love to highlight is, men being abused and how few shelters they are, all the while realizing that their notions are making it worse.
MRA is like any other political movement or any other politician. There are some points that I might agree with them on. Because yes, the fact that domestic violence against men there's not a light shown on it, and you don't hear about men's shelters for domestic violence. I do agree with them with that.
Well, here's what I think is the important thing to notice about that is we'll agree with them that there isn't this support for men in domestic abuse, but where we disagree, and I think this is very common with people on the left and people on the right, is we might agree on certain broad scope generic principles, but whereas I think on the left,
the basis,
what we look more into the nuance of it, whereas on the right they'll just say, well, we don't see this, therefore feminism is bad.
People on the left do that too.
You're right, and
that people on both sides are guilty of that shit, and that's why I'm having a really hard time aligning myself with the far left, because they're just as guilty of not looking at quote unquote the fine print.
See,
it's just kind of this, I agree with this broad argument and anything against that is wrong.
Right.
Both sides are completely fucking guilty of it. Both sides are. And leftists, come at me, bitch. You know what I mean? But y'all fucked up about that shit too.
Where I was trying to go with this, and I hate to use his name, is Ben Shapiro. I made the mistake of looking up a couple of his videos, and for the next month afterwards, every recommended video I had on YouTube was some video sucking his dick about how he annihilates this unprepared college student because the only people who he can truly destroy, as they like to say, are unprepared people who have issues with public speaking,
right?
Who have hearts big enough that they want to say something.
Gross.
But they're maybe they have some anxiety, or they're not accustomed to dealing with somebody like that.
Or they just got ambushed, and they're like, "Who the fuck are you?" And
so they're shaky to get
my thoughts together, right?
Yeah, in one video I saw of his, he was talking about he thinks rapists, I think, should be put to death or something, and I mean I think that's an extreme opinion to take on it, but I agree in the fact that rapists equal bad, but where we start to break down is how I see rape and how he sees rape. Whereas I'm not going to accuse him of this, but people in his camp who may agree with him on what should happen to rapists may still do some of that victim blaming shit.
Right.
Whereas and that'll be where we break down. That'll be where the disagreements lie.
You can't just say that it's just the right, because the left does that shit too. And
you're right.
I'm starting
overgeneralizing.
To see it's the left that's doing it more. It's the left that, to me, has started to become way more militant and way more shut down on the broader scope of things. It's the left is kind of getting a little crazy lately, and I fucking hate to say it, but a lot of them are getting to be much like the right wing counterparts that we were fighting against, to where it's this you're all in or all out mentality about shit. And you're either wholly right or you're wholly wrong about a subject. And I'm really starting to see the divide in moderate leftism to extreme leftism. And extreme is much louder than moderate is. And it's
extreme is always louder, though.
Right, but it's getting to be a little fucking scary now.
It is, but that's a topic for another time. Because I think we've done a neat little peek into this topic. There is so much more to it, and I hope we've at least done enough to discuss and maybe even
And I
raise
promise
awareness.
a good rant next show, guys. I promise. We didn't have that much time tonight, but I promise.
We say that, but we've been doing this for almost an hour now.
I swear a good one next show. I promise. I promise. I promise. I promise.
So, shatter the norms. Question.
Please, because oh my god, like I'm gonna tell you right now, if my fucking kid ever looked at me and was like, "Go get in the kitchen, mommy,"
Ooh.
yo, for one.
That's a paddling.
I don't hit my son, but I would that day. I would fuck him up 95 Shades of Sunday before he turns around. You see this black eye you got? Looks a lot like that fucking jelly on that sandwich you need to go be making, right? Right? Same ass purple bruise you got? It looks a lot like that fucking jelly you need to be making your own goddamn sandwich with. My son ever fucking told me
95
that
Shades
shit.
from Sunday.
Ever fucking, what, bitch? Yo.
So thank you everyone for joining us. This was fun. And please check out the show notes. Go check out the Brainstorm podcast.
A week and a half. Check out the Brainstorm
2 weeks.
podcast. 2 weeks. A week
2
and-
weeks.
Yeah. What the fuck? A week and a half. I meant to say every other week.
There you
And
go.
somehow like signals got crossed in my brain. Anyway.
Damn, get your shit together.
Fuck, right? Brainstorm podcast, a Tale of Two Geeks podcast, because they're all fucking awesome people.
Precisely.
Precisely.
Thank you everybody for joining us, and we'll talk to you next time.
My voice actually sounds really nice on this mic.
The Not Another Atheist podcast experience is run by Jen and Keith. If you wish to contact the hosts, please write to nehehp@gmail.com. They can be found at facebook.com/NotAnotherAtheistPodcast, or search Not Another Atheist Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play to subscribe and leave reviews.
Do you want to see how much of an adult Jen is now? Do you know what? Oh, fuck, it's heavy.
What do you have
Oh
there?
my god. Do you know what this is?
That looks like a planner.
Yes.
I'd show
It's a
you.
ledger.
I'd show you mine, but it's all the way across the room.
You know what this is?
In addition to your planner.
A journal for getting all the crazy shit in my head out.
How's that?
I haven't started yet. I start tonight.
Good.
You know what he's got me doing?
What?
Reading 50 books this year.
That's a lot of fucking books.
One a week on average.
Jesus.
Yeah, he's making me an actual adult. And now I'm drinking tea out of an electric fucking kettle on my goddamn counter.
Who the fuck are you?
There's fucking mason jars on my counter, and I'm making breakfast in them this week. Like,
I don't know who you are anymore.
I don't know who I am. I'm having a crisis.
No shit. Okay.
Let me take a sticker off of it. I'll find the friggin' shit. Yeah. Thing.
I'll find
Sure.
a shit.
Is that a shit? When AJ hears the show, he's gonna crack up when I say, "Is that a shit?"
Well, since this is just us riffing, this will probably just be like right at the end.
Oh no, Andrew, leave this shit in. This shit is fucking gold.
I do. I just put it right at the end there so we can like have a traditional, typical entrance.
The minute he hears, "Is that a shit?" he's gonna fucking crack.
Oh, probably. Will he
It's
be
a-
able
it's
to
a
listen
thing.
to us out there?
Yeah, it's not like he's in the field or
Oh, okay.
anything. It's like a school, and you know they go to whatever they're doing, and
Oh, okay.
I mean, granted, he's sleeping in an open bay barracks, bunk beds, but like, yeah, they get downtime. Like, I know they have Monday off because of the holiday.
Cool.
But they get downtime and shit. You know, they get weekends.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's kind of I wouldn't say it's a cake school. I wouldn't say it's laid back because I mean they're jumping out of fucking airplanes, but it's
Wow.
not like being in the field.
I see.
You know.
Okay.
I don't know why. If you've ever seen the American Dad episode with George Bush when he gets drunk, and yeah, and he does the little dance. I don't know why.
I wanna
that
be
just popped into
naked.
my head. I don't know why that just popped into my head.
Because it's hilarious.
Skull and bones.
If only people could see that dance. That's hilarious.
I don't get to watch it in bed when the boyfriend's here because he doesn't like American Dad.
Tell him to suck a dick.
Exactly.
Hand him a dildo and be like, suck on this. I'm watching.
Exactly. I mean, like, it's Family Guy and Bob's Burgers that we go to bed to.
Could be worse. Okay. Let's get this. God damn it, Jen.
I'm gonna do that the next time I have sex. I'm just gonna walk into the bedroom naked and go, do the skull and bones.
For me, do that, please.
Absolutely. I'll video it.
Yes.
Because
Awesome.
you don't care about seeing me naked. It's not like it's a sex thing.
Could be worse. Okay. Ba-doop-ba-doop-boop. Transition music. Ba-da-ba-da-ba.
I'm picking up my panties and I'm going home. Okay.